Private Austin Richardson's world turned upside down as a blur of blue-tinged flesh slammed into him. One moment he was on routine patrol, the next he found himself pinned to the ground by Altair, a female Sheliak warrior. Her piercing yellow eyes locked onto his, filled with an intensity that made his heart race. "What the hell?" Austin gasped, struggling against her iron grip. The commotion drew the attention of nearby personnel. Major Hawkins, the base commander, rushed over with a mixture of concern and amusement on his face. "At ease, Private," Hawkins said, barely suppressing a chuckle. "It seems you've been chosen." Austin's confusion deepened. "Chosen? For what, sir?" The Major helped Austin to his feet, keeping a watchful eye on Altair, who circled them like a predator stalking prey. "It's mating season for the Sheliaks. Their females become aggressive during this time." The revelation hit Austin like a second tackle. He glanced at Altair, noticing the way her lean, muscular body tensed with barely contained energy. The metallic sheen of her skin caught the light of Proxima Centauri, the red dwarf star that illuminated their alien world. "But sir, I'm human. She can't possibly—" Hawkins cut him off with a raised hand. "Report to the science lab immediately, Private. There's more to this situation than you realize." As Austin made his way across the joint human-Sheliak military base, he couldn't shake the feeling of Altair's eyes boring into his back. The base bustled with activity, a mix of human soldiers and towering Sheliak warriors going about their duties. The alliance between their species was still new, fraught with cultural misunderstandings and technological disparities. In the sterile confines of the science lab, Dr. Elena Chen greeted Austin with a tablet in hand. "Private Richardson, we've been expecting you." "You have?" Austin's brow furrowed. "What's going on, Doc?" Dr. Chen's expression turned serious. "We've been conducting secret studies on human Sheliak reproduction. Your genetic profile shows remarkable compatibility with Sheliak physiology." The implications of her words sank in slowly. Austin's mind reeled. "You want me to mate with Altair? That's insane." "It's more than that," Chen continued. "This could be the key to strengthening our alliance. The Sheliaks are technologically superior, and Earth's government sees this as crucial for maintaining peace." Austin's objections died on his lips as the weight of the situation settled on his shoulders. The fate of two species potentially rested on his ability to, what? Mate with an alien? "You have 24 hours to prepare," Chen said, her voice softening. "We'll brief you on the risks, including potential injuries from Altair's enhanced strength and the unknown effects of Sheliak pheromones on human biology." As Austin left the lab, he noticed the growing tension among the base personnel. Hushed whispers and wary glances followed him. Some viewed the experiment as a violation of natural order, while others saw it as a necessary step for interspecies cooperation. Back in his quarters, Austin tried to process the whirlwind of information. In just 24 hours, he would face a challenge unlike any he'd encountered in his military career. The pressure of potentially altering the course of human-alien relations weighed heavily on him. A low growl outside his door reminded him that Altair was never far away, her primal urges barely contained by the base's protocols. As night fell on Proxima B, Austin Richardson prepared for an encounter that would push the boundaries of both his body and his understanding of the universe. As dawn broke over Proxima B, Austin Richardson found himself pacing nervously in his quarters. The weight of the impending experiment pressed down on him, each passing minute bringing him closer to an encounter that defied his wildest imagination. A sharp knock on his door startled him from his thoughts. "Private Richardson," Dr. Elena Chen's voice called out. "It's time to begin your preparation." Austin took a deep breath, steadying himself before opening the door. Dr. Chen stood there, her usual composed demeanor tinged with a hint of anxiety. "Follow me," she instructed, leading him through the bustling corridors of the base. Their first stop was the xenobiology lab, where Dr. Marcus Powell awaited them. The lanky scientist's eyes lit up with excitement as Austin entered, reminding the young soldier of a kid with a new toy. "Ah, Private Richardson," Powell greeted, gesturing to a chair. "Please sit. We have much to discuss." For the next hour, Austin's head spun as Powell delved into the intricacies of Sheliak mating rituals. The scientist's clinical descriptions of pheromone production, mating dances, and physical joining left Austin alternately fascinated and terrified. Remember, Powell emphasized, leaning in close, celiac females are significantly stronger than their male counterparts. Altair's aggression isn't just a byproduct of her cycle, it's an evolutionary trait designed to test the worthiness of potential mates. Austin swallowed hard. So she's supposed to try and hurt me? Powell nodded gravely. In a sense, yes. Your ability to withstand her advances will determine your suitability as a mate. Before Austin could fully process this information, alarms blared throughout the facility. Red emergency lights bathed the lab in an eerie glow as Powell's communicator crackled to life. Celiac female has breached containment. Security Chief Torres's voice boomed through the speaker. All personnel, initiate lockdown procedures immediately. Chaos erupted in the hallways as soldiers and scientists scrambled to secure their respective areas. Through the lab's reinforced windows, Austin caught a glimpse of blue-tinged flesh barreling through a group of security personnel. Altair's primal roar sent shivers down his spine. Dr. Chen grabbed Austin's arm, practically dragging him from the lab. "We need to get you to medical," she shouted over the din. "Dr. Petrova is waiting with the enhancement drugs." They sprinted through the corridors, narrowly avoiding panicked staff members. As they rounded a corner, they came face to face with a group of agitated soldiers, led by a red-faced man Austin recognized as Sergeant William Hayes. "There he is," Hayes bellowed, pointing an accusing finger at Austin. "The one who's putting all our lives at risk for this insane experiment." Dr. Chen stepped protectively in front of Austin. "Stand aside, Sergeant. We have direct orders from Commander Reeves." Hayes sneered but didn't move. "Orders be damned. We won't let you turn this base into a breeding ground for alien abominations." The tense standoff was broken by another alarm, this one accompanied by the sound of tearing metal. Altair's rampage was intensifying, spurring both groups into action. Chen seized the opportunity to push past Hayes and his men, tugging Austin along with her. They burst into the medical bay, where Dr. Elena Petrova stood ready with a tray of intimidating syringes. "On the table, quickly," she ordered, her thick Russian accent tinged with urgency. Austin complied, his heart racing as Petrova began injecting him with a cocktail of drugs. Almost immediately, he felt a rush of heat course through his body. His muscles tensed and relaxed, a surge of energy making him feel as if he could run for miles. "The effects will intensify over the next few hours," Petrova explained, disposing of the empty syringes. "You'll experience increased strength and stamina, but be warned, your aggression levels may spike, and your sensitivity to celiac pheromones will be greatly enhanced." Before Austin could respond, the door to the medical base slid open, revealing the imposing figure of Base Commander Jonathan Reeves. His stern features were set in a grim expression as he surveyed the room. "Private Richardson," Reeves addressed him directly, "the situation has escalated beyond our initial parameters. We've just concluded an emergency meeting with celiac leadership, and there's something you need to know." Austin sat up, fighting a wave of dizziness as the enhancement drugs continued to work through his system. "Sir?" Reeves's eyes narrowed. "Ambassador Cathora has informed us that Altair is no ordinary celiac. She's royalty, a princess of their ruling bloodline. The success or failure of this mating could have far-reaching consequences for our alliance." The revelation hit Austin like a physical blow. He'd known the experiment was important, but this was beyond anything he'd imagined. The fate of two species quite literally rested in his hands. As if on cue, the entire base shook with a tremendous impact. Altair's rampage was drawing closer. Reeves's communicator crackled to life, Security Chief Torres's voice filled with panic. "Commander, the celiac female has broken through to Section C. We can't contain her much longer." Reeves's expression hardened. "Private Richardson, we're out of options. You're the only one with a chance of subduing her without causing irreparable harm to our alliance." He produced a small pen-like device from his pocket. "This is a specially designed tranquilizer. It's calibrated to celiac physiology, but it requires close-range administration. Your enhanced reflexes and strength give you the best chance of getting close enough to use it." Austin took the device, its weight feeling impossibly heavy in his hand. The sounds of destruction grew louder, punctuated by Altair's primal roars and the shouts of terrified personnel. "The base is going into complete lockdown," Reeves continued. "You'll be sealed in this section with Altair. Remember your training, use the knowledge Dr. Powell provided, and above all, stay alive." With a final nod, Reeves strode out of the medical bay. The reinforced doors slid shut behind him with a resounding clang, leaving Austin alone in the sudden silence. He could feel the drugs coursing through his veins, sharpening his senses and tensing his muscles for action. A bestial howl echoed through the corridors, closer than ever. Austin gripped the tranquilizer tightly, his enhanced body thrumming with a mixture of fear and anticipation. As he stepped out of the medical bay and into the dimly lit hallway, he realized that his greatest challenge was just beginning. The hunt was on, but who was truly the predator, and who was the prey? Prey. The thought flashed through Austin's mind as he gripped the tranquilizer, his enhanced senses on high alert. The corridor stretched before him, littered with debris from Altair's rampage. He took a cautious step forward, every muscle coiled and ready to spring into action. A sudden beep from his communicator made him flinch. Dr. Powell's urgent voice crackled through the device. "Private Richardson, stop! There's been a development you need to know about." Austin pressed himself against the wall, eyes scanning for any sign of Altair as he listened to Powell's frantic explanation. The scientist's words sent a chill down his spine. "The enhancement drugs have interacted with trace celiac pheromones in your system. Your physical abilities are beyond our initial predictions, but your brain chemistry is altering rapidly. You're becoming more susceptible to celiac mating instincts." As if on cue, a wave of heat washed over Austin. His vision sharpened, colors becoming more vibrant. The scent of ozone and alien musk filled his nostrils, igniting a primal urge he struggled to suppress. "Understood," Austin managed to reply, his voice husky and strained. "I'll proceed with caution." He pushed forward, following the trail of destruction. Overturned equipment and sparking wires marked Altair's path. As he rounded a corner, he came across a group of injured personnel. Among them, propped against the wall with a makeshift bandage around his arm, was Sergeant Hayes. "Richardson," Hayes spat, his face contorted with pain and anger. "You're walking into a death trap. That thing isn't some diplomat's daughter. It's a monster." Austin felt a surge of protective instinct, surprising himself with the intensity of his response. "She's not a monster, Sergeant. She's confused, scared." Hayes' eyes widened, a mix of disgust and pity crossing his features. "Listen to yourself, son. Those alien bastards have done something to your head. Turn back now, before it's too late." Ignoring the sergeant's warning, Austin pressed on. The base's power core loomed ahead, its low hum vibrating through the metal floors. As he approached, the sounds of a confrontation grew louder. He burst into the vast chamber housing the power core to find a tense standoff. Security Chief Torres and her squad had Altair cornered, their weapons trained on the Celiac princess. Altair's blue-tinged skin glistened with sweat, her chest heaving as she snarled at the security team. "Hold your fire," Austin shouted, surprising himself with the authority in his voice. "I'll handle this." Torres shot him an incredulous look. "Private, stand down. We can't risk—" But Austin was already moving, his enhanced reflexes allowing him to slip past the security team before they could react. He approached Altair slowly, hands raised in a non-threatening gesture. Altair's luminous eyes locked onto him, her aggressive posture softening almost imperceptibly. Austin felt a pull, an inexplicable connection that transcended species. He took another step forward. In a blur of motion, Altair lunged. Austin braced for an attack, but instead found himself enveloped in a fierce embrace. The moment their bodies made contact, a surge of pheromones flooded his system. His world narrowed to the feel of Altair's skin, the scent of her, the sound of her rapid heartbeat. Through the haze of desire, Austin fumbled for the tranquilizer. Every instinct screamed at him to give in, to complete the mating ritual his body now craved. With tremendous effort, he pressed the device against Altair's neck and activated it. A soft hiss and Altair's grip loosened. As she slipped into unconsciousness, Austin felt his own legs give way. The room spun around him, voices shouting in alarm as he collapsed to the floor. Through blurred vision, he saw Dr. Petrova and her medical team rushing towards them. He tried to speak, to tell them not to separate him from Altair, but darkness claimed him before he could form the words. Austin drifted in and out of consciousness, aware of frantic activity around him. He caught snippets of conversation, biochemical shock, physiological trauma, stasis chamber. Through it all, he felt Altair's presence nearby, a comforting constant in the chaos. When he next opened his eyes, he found himself floating in a strange, translucent fluid. Altair lay beside him, her blue skin pale in the dim light of the stasis chamber. Tubes and sensors connected them to banks of sophisticated medical equipment. Outside the chamber, he could see Dr. Powell and Dr. Petrova huddled over monitors, their faces etched with concern and fascination. Commander Reeves paced nearby, speaking urgently into a communicator. As Austin's mind cleared, he became aware of subtle changes in his body. His senses seemed even sharper than before, and he could feel a strange resonance with Altair, as if their very cells were communicating on some fundamental level. Through the chamber's speakers, he heard Dr. Powell's excited voice. "Commander, the data is extraordinary. Their physiologies are adapting to each other at an unprecedented rate. We're seeing genetic changes that could revolutionize our understanding of interspecies compatibility." Reeves' response was tense. "And what about Richardson? Will he still be himself when this is over?" A pause. "I can't say for certain, sir. The changes are extensive. He may be something new." Austin closed his eyes, processing the implications. He no longer felt entirely human, but neither did he feel alien. He was something in between, a bridge between two worlds. As the stasis fluid worked to stabilize his altered biochemistry, Austin sensed the growing tension outside the chamber. He caught glimpses of Sergeant Hayes and other dissenting soldiers, their faces hard with dedication as they whispered among themselves. Ambassador Cathora's imposing figure appeared, towering over the human medical staff as she demanded updates on her daughter's condition. Earth government officials crowded comm screens, their voices a cacophony of concern and barely concealed excitement at the potential breakthroughs. In the midst of it all, Commander Reeves stood with his hands clasped behind his back, the weight of an impossible decision visible in the set of his shoulders. The fate of two species hung in the balance, and Austin Richardson, no longer fully human, not quite Sheliak, floated at the center of the storm. As the 48-hour mark approached, Austin felt a subtle shift in his connection with Altair. Her consciousness began to stir, reaching out to his in ways that transcended physical touch. He knew that when they emerged from the stasis chamber, everything would change. The question was, would humanity be ready for what they had become? Become. The thought hung in Austin's mind as the stasis fluid began to drain from the chamber. He felt Altair's consciousness stir beside him, their connection deepening with each passing moment. Commander Reeves' voice cut through the haze of Austin's awakening. "Dr. Petrova, Dr. Powell, prepare for extraction. We're proceeding as planned." "Sir, with all due respect, this is madness." Sergeant Hayes' protest rang out. "We don't know what Richardson's become. He could be a threat to—" "That's enough, Sergeant," Reeves interrupted sharply. "The potential benefits outweigh the risks. We're moving forward." As the medical team bustled around the chamber, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. Austin's enhanced hearing picked up the rapid-fire conversation between Reeves and a panicked communications officer. "Commander, we have a situation. A Sheliak battlecruiser just entered orbit. They're demanding immediate access to the base." Reeves cursed under his breath. "Patch me through to Ambassador Cathora." The ambassador's deep, resonant voice filled the room moments later. "Commander Reeves, the Sheliak High Council has learned of my daughter's predicament. They are displeased. High Counselor Zixnar himself is en route to your facility." The tension in the room ratcheted up several notches. Austin could feel Altair's anxiety spike through their connection, her fear of her father's wrath palpable. Before Reeves could respond, Dr. Powell's urgent voice cut through the chaos. "Commander, we have a problem. The stasis chamber's systems are destabilizing. The changes in their physiology are too extreme. We can't safely remove them yet." "And if we do?" Reeves demanded. Powell's face was grim. Severe trauma, possibly death for both of them. The base shuddered as a Sheliak shuttle landed. Minutes later, the imposing figure of High Counselor Zixnar burst into the medical bay, flanked by heavily armed guards. His iridescent exoskeleton gleamed under the harsh lights, his multifaceted eyes fixing on Commander Reeves with barely held-back fury. "Where is my daughter?" Zixnar's voice was like gravel scraping steel. "I demand to see her immediately." "High Counselor," Reeves began, his tone carefully measured. "I understand your concern, but we're dealing with a delicate situation. Your daughter's condition is—" "Her condition?" Zixnar interrupted. "Her condition is the result of your species' barbaric experimentation. If she is harmed in any way, our alliance will be terminated, along with every human on this miserable rock." As the Sheliak leader's rage filled the room, Austin felt a sudden shift within the stasis chamber. Altair's consciousness surged against his, their combined awareness expanding beyond the confines of their bodies. With a synchronicity that defied explanation, their eyes snapped open. The protective field around the chamber deactivated, the remaining fluid draining away. Austin and Altair stepped out in perfect unison, their movements a mirror image of each other. Gasps of shock echoed through the room as everyone took in their altered appearances. Austin's skin had taken on a faint blue tinge, reminiscent of Altair's natural coloration. His muscles seemed denser, more defined, with an almost metallic sheen. Altair, in turn, had undergone her own transformation. Her typically rigid exoskeleton had softened, taking on a more pliable, almost human-like texture. Dr. Petrova's medical scanner whirred to life, her eyes widening as she interpreted the results. "Commander, their neural patterns, they're intertwined. It's like they've developed some kind of telepathic bond." High Counselor Zixnar recoiled at the sight of his daughter. "What have you done to her?" he roared, rounding on Commander Reeves. "This is an abomination. I demand that Altair be returned to our homeworld immediately for purification." As Zixnar's guards moved to seize Altair, Austin instinctively stepped between them. His newly enhanced physiology allowed him to match their strength, creating a standoff. The tense tableau was shattered as Sergeant Hayes and his loyalists burst into the medical bay, weapons drawn. "This ends now," Hayes shouted. "Richardson, you're coming with us. We can't let this freak show continue." Chief Torres and her security team responded instantly, their own weapons raised. The room became a powder keg of competing factions, each a heartbeat away from igniting the spark that would set off a catastrophic confrontation. In the eye of this storm, Austin and Altair stood perfectly still, their hands clasped together. A strange, pulsating energy began to emanate from their joined bodies. It spread rapidly, enveloping everyone in the room in a field of shimmering light. As the energy washed over them, humans and Sheliaks alike found themselves assailed by a torrent of shared sensations and emotions. They experienced flashes of Austin and Altair's memories, felt the depth of their connection, and glimpsed the potential for understanding that lay between their two species. For a brief transcendent moment, the conflicts that had seemed so insurmountable mere seconds ago felt petty and insignificant. The shared experience forced each individual to confront their biases and fears, offering a tantalizing glimpse of what true cooperation between humans and Sheliaks might achieve. As the energy field dissipated, Commander Reeves saw an opportunity. "This is unprecedented," he said, addressing both Zixnar and Hayes. "What's happened here could be the key to a new era of human-Sheliak relations. We need to approach this carefully, together." But the moment of unity was fleeting. Zixnar shook off the effects of the energy field, his willpower only strengthened. "No," he growled. "This perversion of Sheliak genetics cannot be allowed to continue. Altair will return with me, now." Sergeant Hayes, equally unmoved, raised his weapon once more. "Richardson isn't going anywhere with these aliens. We're taking him into protective custody for his own good and the good of humanity." As the two factions prepared to clash, Austin and Altair suddenly doubled over in pain. Dr. Petrova rushed to their side, her medical scanner working furiously. "This is impossible," she whispered, her face pale with shock. "Commander, I'm detecting a massive surge in hormonal activity in both of them. It's as if—" She swallowed hard, her voice barely audible. "Altair is pregnant, with what appears to be a human Sheliak hybrid." The revelation hit the room like a shockwave, momentarily stunning everyone into silence. The impossible had become reality, and with it, the entire landscape of human-Sheliak relations had irrevocably changed. Commander Reeves's mind raced, grappling with the implications. This development presented unprecedented opportunities for scientific advancement and interspecies cooperation. But it also carried the risk of escalating the current crisis into a full-blown diplomatic catastrophe, or worse. As the weight of the situation settled over the room, all eyes turned to Austin and Altair. The couple stood wrapped in each other's arms, their faces a mixture of fear, wonder, and drive. Whatever came next, it was clear that the fate of two species now rested in their hands, and in the tiny life growing within Altair. The standoff continued with High Counselor Zixnar and Sergeant Hayes both poised to take drastic action. Commander Reeves knew he had only moments to act. The revelation of Altair's pregnancy with a human Sheliak hybrid child had transformed an already volatile situation into a potential powder keg. "Everyone, stand down," Reeves ordered, his voice cutting through the tension. "Dr. Petrova, Dr. Powell, I want a full medical examination of Austin and Altair immediately. We need to understand exactly what we're dealing with here." As the medical team sprang into action, Reeves turned to address the still-seething High Counselor Zixnar and the agitated Sergeant Hayes. "Gentlemen, I understand your concerns, but this situation requires careful handling. High Counselor, I respectfully request that you postpone any plans to remove Altair from the base until we have a clearer picture of her condition." Zixnar's multifaceted eyes narrowed, but after a moment of tense silence, he gave a curt nod. "Very well, Commander, but I will remain here to oversee my daughter's care personally." Reeves suppressed a sigh, knowing the logistical nightmare that would entail. "Of course, High Counselor. We'll make the necessary arrangements." Turning to Hayes, Reeves continued, "Sergeant, I need your cooperation. This is a delicate situation that could have far-reaching implications for both our species. I promise to keep you and your team informed of all developments regarding Austin's condition." Hayes hesitated, his grip on his weapon loosening slightly. "All right, Commander, but we'll be watching closely." As the immediate crisis diffused, Dr. Petrova and Dr. Powell led Austin and Altair to a nearby examination room. The couple moved in perfect synchronization, their steps matching as if choreographed. Inside the room, a team of human and Sheliak medical experts began a series of non-invasive tests. As scanners hummed and data flowed across screens, Austin and Altair sat hand in hand, their eyes closed in deep concentration. Dr. Petrova frowned at her readouts. "This is extraordinary. Their neural patterns are completely intertwined. It's as if—" "Wait, are you getting this?" she asked, turning to her Sheliak counterpart. The Sheliak scientist's exoskeleton rippled in what appeared to be excitement. "Indeed, they are transmitting their experiences directly to our monitoring equipment. This level of telepathic communication is unprecedented." As the examination continued, the base around them transformed into a hive of activity. News of the successful human Sheliak reproduction spread rapidly, attracting research teams from both Earth and the Sheliak homeworld. Commander Reeves found himself juggling the influx of personnel, struggling to maintain order and security in the face of the base's sudden prominence. Ambassador Cathora stepped into the role of mediator, organizing meetings between human and Sheliak scientists to encourage collaboration. Her towering figure moved from lab to lab, her resonant voice a constant presence as she worked to bridge the gap between the two species. Days passed in a blur of activity. In the specialized medical bay, Dr. Petrova's face grew increasingly concerned as she monitored Altair's vital signs. "The fetus is developing at an accelerated rate," she reported to Commander Reeves. It's drawing more energy from Altair than we anticipated. We need to develop a specialized nutrient regimen to support both of them. As the medical team worked to address this new challenge, Austin underwent his own transformation. His skin took on a more pronounced blue tinge, and he found himself overwhelmed by new sensory inputs. "It's like I can feel the vibrations of the entire base," he explained to Dr. Powell during one examination. "Every heartbeat, every whispered conversation. It's beautiful, but sometimes it's too much." The base's engineering team, led by Chief Engineer Robert Tanner, threw themselves into the construction of a specialized medical bay for Altair's impending delivery. The project required a delicate balance of human and Shellyak technologies, presenting a unique set of challenges. "We need to modulate the atmospheric controls to accommodate both Shellyak and human physiologies," Tanner explained to his team, gesturing to a complex schematic. "And the medical equipment needs to be calibrated to handle hybrid biology. It's like nothing we've ever built before." As the days stretched into weeks, a new complication arose. In the control room, a young ensign's voice cut through the usual chatter. "Commander Reeves, long-range sensors are detecting an unidentified vessel approaching Proxima B at high speed." Reeves leaned over the ensign's shoulder, studying the readout. "Origin?" "Unknown, sir. It's neither human nor Shellyak design." A chill ran down Reeves's spine. "Inform High Counselor Zixnar and Ambassador Cathora. I want all non-essential personnel to designated safe zones. Raise our alert status." As klaxons blared throughout the base, Reeves made his way to the medical bay. He found Austin and Altair surrounded by a team of worried doctors. Dr. Petrova looked up as he entered, her face drawn with concern. "Commander, Altair's condition is becoming unstable. The fetus is placing an enormous strain on her system. We may need to consider early delivery options." Reeves closed his eyes, feeling the weight of command bearing down on him. An unknown ship was bearing down on them. Altair's life hung in the balance, and the future of human-Shellyak relations rested on the decisions he would make in the next few hours. Opening his eyes, he looked at Austin and Altair, their hands clasped tightly together. Despite the chaos around them, they appeared calm, their gazes locked on each other with an intensity that spoke volumes. "Doctors, do whatever you need to do to stabilize Altair's condition," Reeves ordered. "I need to prepare our defenses. Whatever's coming, we need to be ready." As he turned to leave, Austin's voice, tinged with a new, otherworldly resonance, stopped him. "Commander, wait. There's something you need to know about the ship that's approaching." Reeves turned back, his eyebrow raised in question. "What is it, Austin?" Austin's eyes seemed to glow with an inner light as he spoke. "We can sense them, Altair and I. They're not here to harm us. They're here because of us, because of what we represent. They're here to witness the birth of something new." The commander's mind raced with the implications of Austin's words. As he opened his mouth to respond, a new alarm blared through the base. The unknown ship had entered orbit, and everything was about to change. Change. The words had barely left Austin's mouth when alarms blared throughout the base, their urgent wailing confirming his cryptic warning. Commander Reeves's communicator crackled to life, the voice of the ensign in the control room cutting through the cacophony. "Commander, the unidentified vessel has breached our atmosphere. It's on approach to the base." Reeves' eyebrows furrowed as he assessed the situation. "Full alert status. I want all defensive systems online and ready. Notify me the moment that ship makes any aggressive moves." As the base erupted into a flurry of activity, Reeves turned back to Austin and Altair. The couple sat perfectly still, their eyes closed and faces serene despite the chaos around them. It was as if they were listening to a frequency no one else could hear. "What else can you tell me about this ship, Austin?" Reeves asked, his voice low and urgent. Austin's eyes snapped open, glowing with an otherworldly light. "They're called the Zarai, Commander. They're curious about us, about what we represent." Before Reeves could press for more information, Chief Engineer Tanner's voice came over the comm system. "Commander, you need to see this. The ship, it's like nothing we've ever encountered before." Reeves strode to the nearest viewport, his breath catching in his throat as he took in the sight. The Zarai vessel hovered above the base, its sleek, iridescent hull seeming to shift and ripple like liquid metal. It defied conventional design, its form a perfect blend of organic curves and precise geometry. As the base's personnel watched in awe, the ship gracefully descended, touching down on the planet's surface with barely a whisper. A hatch seamlessly appeared in its side, and a ramp extended to the ground. "Security teams, stand by!" Reeves ordered, his hand hovering over his sidearm. "Ambassador Cathora, High Counselor Zixnar with me. Let's greet our unexpected guests." The air crackled with tension as the first figure emerged from the ship. Tall and lithe, the alien moved with fluid grace, its body covered in a shimmering, scale-like exoskeleton. Its large, multifaceted eyes scanned the welcoming party, seeming to take in every detail at once. "I am Zorlath, Chief Scientist of the Zarai," the alien announced, its voice a melodious trill that seemed to bypass their ears and resonate directly in their minds. "We come seeking knowledge and offering aid." Reeves stepped forward, his posture a careful balance of openness and caution. "I'm Commander Reeves of the United Earth Alliance. This is a rather unexpected visit, Zorlath. What brings you to our remote outpost?" Zorlath's exoskeleton rippled, creating patterns that seemed to convey both excitement and reverence. "We detected an energy signature unlike any we've encountered in our centuries of exploration. A perfect melding of two distinct species. We had to see for ourselves." High Counselor Zixnar bristled, his own exoskeleton flaring. "You speak of my daughter and the human Austin Richardson. What do you want with them?" "To study, to learn, to assist," Zorlath replied, each word punctuated by a different shimmer across its body. "We offer our advanced medical technology in exchange for access to this unprecedented hybrid pregnancy." Before anyone could respond, Dr. Petrova's panicked voice cut through the air. "Commander, you need to get back here immediately. Altair's condition is deteriorating rapidly." Reeves' mind raced, weighing the potential risks against the pressing need for advanced medical intervention. "Zorlath, your timing is either incredibly fortunate or suspiciously convenient, but right now, we don't have the luxury of debating your motives. Follow me." The unlikely group rushed back to the medical bay, where they found Altair writhing in pain, her body contorting in ways that seemed to defy her chiliac physiology. Austin lay on the adjacent bed, his face twisted in a mirror of Altair's agony, their shared bond transmitting her suffering directly to him. Dr. Petrova looked up as they entered, her face pale with worry. "The fetus's growth rate has accelerated beyond our ability to control. It's placing an immense strain on Altair's system. We're running out of options." Zorlath stepped forward, its exoskeleton pulsing with what seemed to be concern. "Allow us to help. Our bioregulators can stabilize both mother and child, harmonizing their energy patterns." High Counselor Zixnar moved to object, but Ambassador Cathora placed a restraining hand on his arm. "We have no choice, Counselor. Your daughter's life is at stake." With a reluctant nod from Reeves, Zorlath signaled to its team. The Zarai medical experts swarmed into the room, their movements a blur of efficiency as they set up their equipment. Sleek, organic-looking devices were attached to Altair and Austin, pulsing with soft, multicolored light. As the procedure began, Austin's transformation accelerated. His skin deepened to a rich, vibrant blue, and his eyes took on the multifaceted appearance of the Sheliacs. He gasped, his voice taking on a new, resonant quality. I can see everything, feel everything, the base, the planet, the stars beyond." Dr. Powell leaned in, fascinated. "Austin, can you hear me? What exactly are you experiencing?" Austin's eyes focused on the doctor, a look of wonder on his face. "It's like I'm connected to a vast network. I can sense the thoughts, the intentions of everyone around us. And the ships. So many ships, all coming here. Some curious, some hostile." Reeves' head snapped up at this. "Ships? What ships, Austin?" But before Austin could respond, the base's security systems blared to life once more. Chief Engineer Tanner's voice came over the comm, tight with tension. Commander, long-range sensors are picking up multiple objects entering the system. It's a fleet, sir, from all over the galaxy by the looks of it. As the implications of this new development sank in, Reeves turned to face the assembled group, human, Sheliak, and Zarai alike. The tenuous alliance they'd formed in the face of Altair's medical crisis now seemed fragile in the shadow of this new, looming threat. It seems, Reeves said, his voice grave, that our little science project has attracted some very unwelcome attention. Whatever happens next, I have a feeling it's going to reshape the future of all our species. The medical bay fell silent save for the hum of equipment and the synchronized breathing of Austin and Altair. Outside, the first pinpricks of light from the approaching fleet began to appear in Proxima B's sky, heralding the dawn of a new era in galactic relations, one that would be born in the crucible of conflict surrounding an impossible child. As the first pinpricks of light from the approaching fleet dotted Proxima B's sky, Commander Reeves sprang into action. His communicator crackled with urgent transmissions as he barked orders, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Initiate full base lockdown. Security Chief Torres, mobilize all personnel to fortify key positions. I want our defense systems at maximum capacity. The base hummed with frenetic energy as klaxons blared and personnel rushed to their stations. Security Chief Torres's voice echoed through the corridors, directing teams to strategic locations. The low thrum of energy shields powering up vibrated through the structure, while automated weapon platforms whirred to life, their targeting systems scanning the skies. In the medical bay, Dr. Petrova and Dr. Powell worked feverishly alongside the Zarai medical team. Their hands moved with practiced precision as they assembled a complex array of equipment, a fusion of human, Sheliak, and Zarai technology. We need to stabilize the power flow, Dr. Petrova muttered, her brow furrowed in concentration. If we can't balance the energy signatures, the pod won't be able to sustain both Altair and the fetus. A Zarai scientist chirped in agreement, its exoskeleton rippling with patterns of blue and green. Its elongated fingers danced over a console, adjusting parameters with lightning speed. Ambassador Cathora's voice cut through the tension, her words clipped and urgent as she spoke into a communication device. Yes, this is a priority 1 alert. We need immediate reinforcements. The entire future of human-Sheliak relations hangs in the balance. She turned to Reeves, her multifaceted eyes reflecting the flashing emergency lights. A joint task force is en route, Commander, but they won't arrive for several hours. We're on our own until then. Reeves nodded grimly, his heart made. Then we'll hold the line. We have to. A violent tremor shook the base, causing equipment to rattle and alarms to shriek. Chief Engineer Tanner's voice crackled over the comms. Commander, the first wave is attempting to breach our outer defenses. Our shields are holding, but they're taking a beating. Suddenly Austin gasped, his now blue skin glistening with sweat. His multifaceted eyes widened, unfocused, yet somehow seeing beyond the confines of the room. They're coming in from the North Quadrant, 3 ships, heavily armed. They're targeting our shield generators. Security Chief Torres's voice confirmed Austin's vision moments later. Commander, we've got multiple bogies approaching from the north. How did he... Never mind that now, Reeves cut in. Concentrate our fire on those ships. Use Austin's intel to anticipate their moves. As the battle raged outside, High Counselor Zixnar approached Reeves, his posture rigid with purpose. Commander, allow me to assist in our ground defense. I have experience in Sheliak combat tactics that could prove useful. Reeves nodded, grateful for the offered help. Coordinate with Chief Torres. We need every advantage we can get. In the corridors leading to the medical bay, Sergeant Hayes and his team of human soldiers found themselves fighting alongside Sheliak warriors. The 2 groups moved in sync, covering each other's blind spots and calling out enemy positions. On your left, a Sheliak warrior called out, its voice a harmonic trill. Hayes spun, his weapon finding its mark and dropping an alien intruder. Thanks, Hayes grunted, nodding to his Sheliak counterpart. A moment of understanding passed between them, transcending their physical differences. Back in the medical bay, Zorlath approached Dr. Petrova, its exoskeleton pulsing with urgency. Doctor, we can provide additional protection. Our cloaking technology can create a protective bubble around this facility. Dr. Petrova's eyes widened. Do it. We need more time to finish the pod. As the Zarai activated their cloaking device, a shimmering field enveloped the medical bay. Outside, the sounds of battle seemed to fade, creating an eerie calm within. Chief Engineer Tanner's team worked frantically on the base's communication array, sweat beading on their foreheads as they rerouted power and reconfigured circuits. If we can amplify the signal enough, Tanner muttered, more to himself than his team, we might be able to boost Austin and Altair's abilities, give them a chance to reach out to those ships. As if on cue, Austin's voice rang out, clear and resonant. I can feel them, the ships, the people inside, their fears, their curiosity, their aggression. We need to show them who we are, what we represent. Dr. Powell nodded, making rapid adjustments to the equipment connected to Austin and Altair. We're routing the signal through the modified array now. Focus your thoughts, both of you. Reach out to them. The air in the medical bay seemed to thicken, charged with an otherworldly energy as Austin and Altair joined hands. Their eyes closed in deep concentration. The attacking ships hesitated, their weapons falling silent as the leaders of the alien fleet found their minds touched by an unexpected presence. Through the telepathic link, Austin and Altair shared their story, the beauty of their unlikely bond, the potential for understanding and cooperation between different species, and the hope embodied in their unborn child. Taking advantage of the lull in the attack, Commander Reeves opened diplomatic channels. His voice was firm but open as he addressed the alien fleet. This is Commander Reeves of the United Earth Alliance. We propose an immediate ceasefire and offer to host a summit to discuss the implications of recent events. We are willing to share our research data in the spirit of mutual understanding and cooperation. For a tense moment, silence reigned. Then responses began to filter in, some curious, some still hostile, but many willing to consider the offer. As negotiations began, a cry of pain from Austin shattered the fragile calm of the medical bay. He doubled over, his face contorted in agony. Altair, he gasped, the baby, it's coming. Dr. Petrova rushed to Altair's side, her eyes widening as she read the sensor outputs. She's going into labor, the hybrid child. It's coming now. Commander Reeves looked from the medical bay to the command center, where delicate negotiations were unfolding, then back to the defensive stations, where both human and Shellyak forces stood ready to repel another attack. The next few hours would determine not just the fate of this base, but potentially the future of interspecies relations across the galaxy. With a deep breath, Reeves squared his shoulders. They had come too far to fail now. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Humans, Shelyaks, and perhaps even their new allies. The birth of this child might just herald the birth of a new era for them all. As the negotiations unfolded on the command deck, a piercing cry echoed through the medical bay. Austin doubled over, his face contorted in shared agony with Altair. Dr. Petrova rushed to their side, her eyes widening as she read the sensor outputs. She's going into labor, the doctor announced, her voice steady despite the unprecedented nature of the situation. The hybrid child is coming now. The medical bay erupted into a flurry of activity. Dr. Powell joined Dr. Petrova at Altair's bedside, while the Zarai medical team moved with fluid efficiency, setting up additional equipment. The air hummed with a mixture of tension and excitement. Commander Reeves, hearing the commotion, made a split-second decision. He tapped his communicator, his voice firm and resolute. This is Commander Reeves to all ships. We are extending an invitation to witness a historic event. Representatives from each species may join us in the observation room adjacent to our medical bay. This child represents our shared future. Let us come together in peace. As the message was relayed, Reeves turned to Security Chief Torres. Set up a secure corridor from the landing bay to the observation room. Full scans and disarmament protocols for all visitors. Torres nodded, already coordinating with her team. Understood, sir. We'll have it ready in 10 minutes. In the medical bay, Austin stood by Altair's side, his now blue skin glistening with sweat. Their hands intertwined, eyes locked in a gaze that spoke volumes beyond words. Through their bond, Austin felt every contraction, every surge of pain and purpose. Dr. Petrova's voice cut through the haze of their shared experience. Altair, you're progressing rapidly. The hybrid physiology is accelerating the process. Austin, we need you to help stabilize her energy patterns. Austin nodded, closing his eyes and focusing his newfound abilities. A soft glow emanated from their joined hands, spreading over Altair's body. Her breathing steadied, finding a rhythm with the contractions. Outside, the first shuttles from the alien fleet touched down. Sergeant Hayes and his team, now standing shoulder to shoulder with Sheliak warriors, formed a protective cordon around the medical bay. The corridor filled with a procession of beings from across the galaxy, some bipedal, others multi-limbed or even gaseous in form. As the observers filed into the hastily prepared room, a collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Through the transparent barrier, they watched the miracle of life unfolding before them, transcending the boundaries of species and culture. Suddenly, the lights flickered, and several monitors went dark. Chief Engineer Tanner's voice crackled over the comms, tight with urgency. Power surge in Sector 3. The medical bay is drawing too much energy. We need to reroute power now, or we'll lose life support. Reeves didn't hesitate. Do it, Tanner. Pull power from the defense grid if you have to. This berth takes priority. As Tanner and his team worked feverishly to stabilize the power, Sergeant Hayes made a decision. He turned to his squad and the Sheliak warriors beside them. We are the defense grid now. Form a perimeter. Nothing gets through. The soldiers moved as one, human and Sheliak alike, creating a living shield around the medical bay. In that moment, old prejudices dissolved, replaced by a shared purpose. Inside, Altair's labor reached its peak. Dr. Powell, his hands steady despite the enormity of the moment, guided Austin. She's crowning. Austin, we need you to project calm. Your bond can help ease the transition. Austin closed his eyes, channeling every ounce of love and support through their connection. Altair's face relaxed, her body finding new strength. With one final, monumental effort, she pushed. A cry filled the air, not just audible, but psychic. Every being in the base, and even those in the ships above, felt it resonate through their very essence. A mixture of human wail and Sheliak harmonic, it spoke of new life and new possibilities. Dr. Petrova lifted the child, its skin a mottled blue, eyes shifting with an inner light. It's incredible, she breathed, running a scanner over the newborn. The genetic markers. I've never seen anything like it. Zorlath stepped forward, its exoskeleton pulsing with a complex pattern of colors. We may have influenced the development more than we initially revealed, it admitted. Our hope was to create a bridge, a being capable of uniting all spacefaring races. As the news spread, weapons powered down across the alien fleet. In the observation room, leaders who had been ready for war just hours before found themselves moved to tears by the sight of Austin and Altair cradling their child. Ambassador Cathora turned to Commander Reeves, her voice filled with awe. This changes everything. We must convene a summit here on Proxima B. This child, this union, it opens doors we never imagined possible. Reeves nodded, his mind already racing with the implications. Agreed. We'll need to expand the base, create neutral ground for negotiations and cultural exchange. As the immediate frenzy subsided, Austin and Altair found a moment of peace with their newborn. The child's eyes, wise beyond measure, gazed up at them. In that look, they saw not just their future, but the future of the galaxy. Outside the medical bay, humans and Sheliaks who had once viewed each other with suspicion now stood united. Sergeant Hayes clapped a Sheliak warrior on the shoulder, a gesture of camaraderie that would have been unthinkable just days before. As the sun set on Proxima B, the base hummed with a new energy. Communications channels that had carried threats now buzzed with plans for cooperation. The birth of one child had birthed a new era for all species, and the real work of forging this new galactic community was just beginning.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.